Spirited Away was released in 2001 and is directed by Hayao Miyazaki, and to be honest, at this point, most of you should know what Spirited Away is, because I think it is probably the most beloved anime movie to ever be released, and up to a certain point, it was the highest grossing anime of all time, at least in Japan, until Your Name came along and dethroned it. But anyway, Spirited Away has very, very quickly over the years become a classic, and I thought there would be no better way to finish off my 2019 anime review series than by reviewing what is considered by many to be the holy grail of anime movies, and specifically Studio Ghibli's filmography. Now, I rewatched this movie specifically for this review, and I'm very glad I did that, because the first time I saw this movie, which was quite a few years ago, I genuinely didn't know what to think of it. I thought the animation was stunning, and that the story and the characters were quite interesting as well, but something didn't quite work for me, and I thought a lot of it was very strange, and I just didn't know what to think of some of the odd imagery that I was being shown. Which is why I'm saying this now, nearer the start of the review than nearer the end, is that I think depending on what age you are when you've seen this movie, all depends on how much you appreciate this movie. I feel like if you see it too young, a lot of this may just go over your head and you may just find it a very odd experience. And I feel like the older you are when you watch it, the more you can appreciate about the movie, which is exactly where I come into this. I watched it maybe when I was a little bit too young. I watched it when I was at secondary school, and I genuinely didn't know what to think of it, because I thought the things that happened in the movie were just so strange, and the imagery was just so odd that I was like, I think I like it, but what did I just watch? Now that I've had time to fully process it, and that I've rewatched it now as a 22-year-old person, I absolutely love this movie, and I finally get why everyone loves it so much. This isn't a movie that force feeds you everything, or goes in the traditional way that a lot of other animated movies for kids may go, which is what I think makes this movie so special, because it really stands out amongst pretty much every other animated movie that there has been that is aimed mainly at children. Because nowadays, the typical thing to do is kind of show you these very awe-inspiring visuals, whilst also kind of force-feeding you how you should be feeling, you know, giving you a specific emotion and going, okay, children, this is how you should be feeling at this specific moment, and this is how the character is supposed to be feeling in this moment. It doesn't give enough of a chance for children nowadays to make their minds up for themselves, or try and figure out on their own how they should be feeling. And as much as I love Pixar movies, they are kind of buggers for doing this, trying to get you to feel a certain way by almost successfully manipulating you to feel a certain emotion, whereas I feel that Spirited Away does this in a much more in a less forceful way anyway. It just kind of shows you these things, and however you react to them in the moment is how you feel. It doesn't force a specific emotion upon you. It just sort of happens and lets you figure out where your feelings are as it goes along. This also leads into another thing that I absolutely love about Spirited Away that, again, you don't get in many animated children's movies nowadays, and that is the fact that in the grand scheme of things, there isn't really a plot to the movie. Yes, there are certain things that the main character, Chihiro, has to do throughout the film, and she kind of has to go from point A to point B and get certain things done. But in all fairness, there is no overriding plot other than the fact that she wants to save her parents, which have been turned into pigs. That's really the only resemblance of a plot in the movie. A lot of the movie is just Chihiro doing certain things to make, just to stay alive in this weird spirit world that she's caught up in. And again, there is no plot. You're just following this character and how she reacts to certain things. and how she does the things that she is tasked to do. And in other movies, this may not necessarily work, but here, for some reason, it works so much better because you are with Chihiro right from the start, and you see her progress as a character from the start of the movie to the end in a very unique way. Because that's another thing that modern children's animated movies do. They kind of try to forcefully tell you and show you how a character is progressing. And sometimes it can kind of be shoved down your throat, but here, because you are almost put in the exact same shoes as Chihiro, you feel the same emotions as her when she is tasked to do certain things. And I really like that about this movie, and the fact that it goes about it in a very subtle way, while just kind of, letting everything else sweep you away in the experience, is a very, very interesting way to do it. And I can honestly say I haven't really seen any other animated film attempt to do this, ever. Of course, the animation is absolutely stunning. It's a Studio Ghibli movie. Specifically, it's a Hayao Miyazaki film, so of course it's going to look the part. And this movie is no exception, because every single image in this movie just pops that little bit more than, say, other films may. And I just love the way this movie looks. I do understand where my younger self may have been coming from, in that some of the imagery is very bizarre and almost trippy at times, especially in regards to the way characters are designed. For example, the woman who runs the baths is literally this old lady with a massive fucking head, and she has a giant baby, and also these weird servant-like things that are literally just decapitated heads that roll around going boo 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 boo. So yeah, I can understand why my younger self found all of that very strange. And to be honest, watching it now, I still find it very odd to look at. But to be honest, it adds to the dreamlike quality that this spirit world has. And if anything, the fact that it never explains any of this weird imagery that you're seeing kind of adds to the immersive nature of this movie. The fact that you feel like you're in Chihiro's shoes and you're just kind of experiencing this world the same way she is. It's very mesmerizing, and it is a very immersive way of doing a movie like this. It's very similar in that sense to Alice in Wonderland, the fact that this one character is thrown into a world that you can't really explain. And in that sense, yes, it is very similar to that. But I do think it works slightly better than Alice in Wonderland, because even in that scenario, certain things, like the rules of the world and how it works, are kind of explained. Whereas here, it's a case of showing you how the world works rather than telling you, and I really do appreciate that. In the end, Spirited Away is a brilliant piece of animated filmmaking, which is why some people even regard this just as a brilliant animated movie rather than a brilliant anime movie. And yeah, it is brilliant in both of those regards. I have to easily give this a 10 out of 10. It's a brilliantly animated movie that fully immerses you in the world that it creates. And also, in a way, acts as a sort of coming-of-age story for the character of Chihiro. But you don't really realise that until near the end of the movie. And again, this is something you may only pick up on depending how older you are. Something that younger viewers may not pick up on, but something that older viewers will definitely notice, especially in the character of Chihiro and the way her character progresses from the start of the film to the end. So guys, that was my review of Spirited Away. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye.